fix this. I don't know if it's clipped on right. I just clipped it. Excited you're here for the first ever. Hi everyone, and welcome to the very first ever Invest in Apartments Challenge. Wow, so I would love to get to see and connect with all of you out there. So if all of you could turn your cameras on, I'd love to see your faces instead of your names on the cameras. So I see a few of you out there, and if you want to put your name in, with your picture, then I get to actually call out your name and say hello. That way you know I can see you. So I see some of you out there, but I would just be describing what you look like as opposed to seeing your name. So I see Stephen out there. So hello, Stephen. Thank you for turning your camera on. That's awesome. And I see Dante out there. Even though he doesn't have his name on his screen, I know him, so I could say hello. There's so many of you out there. Hi, Tom. And there's others out there, but I don't see your names. So Carrie, there you are. And yep, so hopefully Becky and Sheldon and Mitch and Johannes, they can turn their cameras on soon. Alan and Elena. You guys, thank you so much. Kimberly, Daniel, Tony, Jeffrey. Hey, why don't you guys start chatting right now in the chat box and say what your name is and where you're from. That way you guys can start connecting with each other, because this is where all the action is going to be for the next 5 days. And it's all about connecting with you guys, connecting with each other, encouraging each other. We are going to have so much fun this week. So Becky and Ryan and Tony, we're looking forward to seeing you soon, and turn your cameras on. Suzette and Kimberly. So thank you, Sheldon. It's so nice to see you. And Kenny Wesley, so great to see you as well. Thank you, Manuel Garcia. So let us know where you're calling in from. So great to see you, Mike Guthrie. Stefano's in the house. Bradley Moon, I see you, so it's awesome. Jing, I see you, Jing. Chris Vincent and Ryan Morris. All right. Hey, Chris Vincent, Tammy Hain. Sorry if my eyes aren't the best. How you doing? So, wow, this is going to be so much fun, you guys. I'm super excited. I could call out your names all day, but the biggest thing is make sure your cameras stay on, because your energy, when I see your face, I get a little bit more excited when I see your face than just the name sitting there or a still image. So if we can just make that promise this week so we can stay connected, that would be amazing. So what are we doing? Who am I? You guys have been putting all your names. Maybe some of you know me, but I am Jen Sumrock, and I'm Brad Sumrock's business partner and wife. And we are so super passionate about doing this very first ever Invest in Apartments challenge with you. We've brought together some of our favorite mentors who have helped us along the way. And I'm just super passionate about helping other people get to the next level. And Brad has this amazing skill set of showing people how to, get out of the rat race and create wealth. And so together we're just kind of this force. And you guys know the power of just being surrounded by the right people, right? You've heard it when you say, oh, okay, you become the 5 people you hang out with, right? So who are the 5 people that you are currently hanging out with? And maybe you need to say, oh, maybe there's 1 or 2 people that, I'll hang out with them a little bit less so that I could maybe have something more that I really want, right? So early on in life, it was all about hanging out with my girlfriends and going dancing. And I had to I chose to give that up so that I can learn wealth building and some other things that were going to benefit me long term instead of just having fun for the night, right? So if you guys want to post right now, if there's anybody new that you'd want to have in your life, I'd like to hear now, and that way we can kind of get some ideas of who wants to have who in their life. Would it be Brad? Would it be Robert Kiyosaki? Who else? Is there a health mentor? Is there a wealth mentor? Because life is all about having your health and your wealth, right? So we want to have both, and we're super excited to see some of you guys posting here. This is awesome. All right, so Brad and I have brought together a very special guest tonight. Most of you know who he is. He wrote the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. How many people have read this book and it's changed their life? If so, you can put that in the comments as well. We want to get to know you guys. Come on. Awesome. I see some claps. That's great. Let everybody know. Yes, yes. All right. Well, that book has changed many people's lives. Hi, Becky. I see you guys. So we're super excited he's going to be here with us tonight. So before I bring Brad on, I know I'm super pumped, and I usually love to have a lot of music, but this time what I'd like to do, if you guys wouldn't mind playing full out with me, sometimes we need to get out of our head and do something for our bodies before we can take in a lot of information, okay? And sometimes it might be weird and different and uncomfortable because you haven't done it before, but for those that are willing to play full out this week with me and you are ready and willing, please stand up. I want to get everybody to just get up for a minute and stand, because we're going to be sitting in this Zoom thing for a little bit. And thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. So what I'd like to do, yes, our bodies are an amazing thing. And we know that sometimes information gets put in our bodies, whether we want it or not, whether it's coming in from some negative news network or, somebody said something that wasn't, very positive and whatever, and that all that stuff can build up. So what I'd like to do is we want to make some room for some new information, right? Some good quality information that could move you forward to the next level. So I would like for you guys to put your hands together and start pressing. And start feeling that tension, okay? Now when you keep pressing, and as you're feeling this tension, this is all of the negative news that you've been hearing, whether you wanted to or not, whether it was coming in, even not just negative news, even information that was given to you a long time ago that didn't serve you. Maybe it was a belief about money. Maybe it was a belief about what you deserve, whether you're good enough or whatever. Just some stupid lies. And as you keep thinking about all those stupid negative things, I want you to keep pressing into your body, pressing into your hands, and you feel the tension in your body. That's all the negative stuff. And what if you knew that all you needed to do right now is just let go now. Let go now and release all of that negative energy. That's right. Now, what do you feel? You feel the release. That's right. Now just feel that release. And what you've just done is you let go of all those negative thoughts now. And you've opened up a window, an opportunity to get in new information into your body that's going to serve you. So congratulations, you guys, for doing that exercise. I want you to shake your body out and just get excited about it. Say yes, because you have just let go of shit you didn't even know you had in your body. This is awesome. And now you are ready for 5 freaking days of fully immersed stuff. And we've got the first ever Apartment King coming your way. My husband, my joy, my love. I'm so passionate to bring him on. You guys are ready now. So get your pens ready, get your bodies ready, do a little happy dance, get your pen ready, and let's bring it on. So everybody help welcome me, Brad Sumrock, to the house. Woo-hoo! All right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Let's celebrate, you guys.
Isn't she awesome?
You
She's
gotta
awesome.
celebrate before you even achieve it. This is like one of my very favorite things to do. So
I love seeing you all out there.
while you're standing up, just celebrate, because you guys just did an exercise that's so powerful. And I'm so excited for you. And the more you keep that energy going, you're like electrifying your cells inside right now. They're all communicating with each other.
I'm electrified, are
They're
you?
like, yes. we just created some space. We are gonna make some moves that are different than we used to. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna be successful together.
Yes.
Yes. Woo!
She's awesome.
All right, you guys have fun and we'll see you
Let's
later.
give it up for Jen.
Chat in the box, let me know how you're feeling. Woo!
Let's give it up for Jen. Let's hear it for Jen. Come on, let's hear it. You know, so many people see me and they see me on the stage and they see my videos or they see me out there on virtual events, and Jen has been with me every step of the way. We've met 10 years ago in March, and she's been with me every step of the way, and it's been our dream to not only continue to expand our apartment investments, but to share it with you and to help you guys become successful apartment investors too. So I couldn't have done it without Jen and couldn't do what we do without my beautiful wife and my partner. I also wanted to acknowledge all of you because you guys are like the 10%. You know, we have a big advertising, we have big list, and so many people received our emails and our Facebook ads and our Google ads, and you guys are the 10% that responded. And what that tells me is that you guys are the ones that are committed to not just investing, not just becoming financially free, but doing it this year in 2021. So that's the whole challenge. The whole challenge is to let's become financially independent together in 2021. So who's up for that? I know all of you are. And then I also want to acknowledge the people that are backstage. And so this is being broadcast to the entire Facebook group. And now we have over 1,500 people in the Invest in Apartments Challenge. But I want to acknowledge the people that are backstage because you guys are like the 10% of the 10%. Because when I found out about the two things that make people the most successful is the decisions they make and the people they hang around with. So I want to congratulate you guys because like tonight when I interview Robert Kiyosaki, the interview is going to start and everybody's going to be listening to the interview with me and Robert. But then we're going to go backstage and we're going to talk about some more insights and some of the things that he's looking at right now. So there's still an opportunity to do that backstage pass. And not only is it going to be with Robert, but it's going to be with Michael Becker, with Kenny McElroy, Tom Wheelwright, Grant Cardone, and Robert Helms and the other speakers that we have. So if you want to go ahead and do that backstage and be the 10% of the 10%, I will see you there at the end, and I'm going to be able to see you the whole time. So let's go ahead and get started, okay? I mean, today we're on a tight schedule because we have none other than Robert Kiyosaki, and he's got to start at a certain time, and he's got to stop at a certain time. So because of that, any of you that have ever watched me before know that I don't like to stay on schedule, do I? No, Alan Stewart, I don't like to stay on schedule, but tonight I got to be really tight on the schedule. So that's my objective with you guys tonight is to cover the mindset, to cover the value proposition of multifamily investing, and then we're going to bring on Robert, okay? So why am I doing this challenge, okay? Even before the pandemic, 59% of Americans were living paycheck to paycheck. And you know what? I wasn't doing that in 2019, but I was doing that before I started investing in apartments. So I was there. I could relate to that, okay? 59% of Americans don't feel secure about their retirement. And I was one of those people too. I mean, I was in my early 30s, but believe me, I was already thinking about retirement because when I talked to you about my parents and what they taught me, I saved money for college, and then as soon as I got a job, I started saving money for retirement. And after being fired and laid off, I never felt secure, okay? The pandemic came and it got worse for a lot of Americans. Since the pandemic, 63% of Americans are reportedly earning living paycheck to paycheck. And a third of Americans have gotten a new credit card because they got to pay for stuff and they don't have the cash. And the millennials, it's 64% are living paycheck to paycheck. So that's why I'm doing this challenge is because, hey, look, if you think that 5 years or less is a long time, and that's what my offer is if you invest in apartments and you stay on the course and you stay focused and you do what I talk about this week, you should be able to become financially free in 5 years or less. Now, if you think that's a long time, try 20 years, 37 years, 50 years in corporate America. My brother is 57 and just lost his job. He's been an IT professional his whole career. And now he says, here's what he tells me, Brad, it's hard for me to get a job at the same pay. He's actually thinking about becoming a commercial truck driver at the age of 57. Okay, so this is real. 57 years old. He's been in the workforce for 27 years, and now he's out of work. Okay, so what does that mean for his retirement and his wife and his family and the legacy that he wants to leave? Okay, so this is why we're doing the challenge. Okay, so many of you have heard my story, but a lot of you haven't. So I've been there. Okay, I was educated, not one degree, but two. My first degree was chemical engineering, and I'm going to share with you why I became an engineer and then how I decided not to become an engineer. But as a chemical engineer, Carnegie Mellon University, I grew up in Pittsburgh. Any Pittsburghers out there? If you're from Pittsburgh, everybody rocks, but some rock and some rock harder. So if you're from Pittsburgh, you definitely rock, okay? But you all rock, Mike Guthrie. You rock too. I see you out there, buddy. But I remember my tuition and my room and board was about $15,000 when I was in college from 1985 to 1989. And so I did $15,000 a year for 4 years so I can get a job for $33,000 a year. And that was my starting salary as an engineer. Could you believe it? And now it got worse, by the way, and I'll show you. It's even worse today, okay? And by the way, I didn't even want to be an engineer. And I'm going to tell you my story about why I became an engineer, but I'll save that for a few minutes, okay? But I wanted to move up the corporate ladder, and I wanted to be more successful, and I wanted to make more money and actually be more fulfilled as well. So I went back to school because that was the mindset I had. You see, I had the mindset that if I wanted to be successful, I would do formal education, okay, degrees, certifications, and stuff like that. So I went back to school. But what I found is that the more money I made, I was living paycheck to paycheck, okay? And after 17 years, I worked for 5 companies. I was fired once. I was laid off once. I was told, Brad, you don't work hard enough. I was told, Brad, you don't have what it takes to be an executive. I was told, Brad, you don't have the work ethic. I was even told, Brad, you're not smart enough. And I'm thinking, man, I'm smart. I was second in my class. I would have been first if I didn't have that B- in biology in 10th grade. But the point is like I was told all these things, okay? And so I'm going to share with you where I am now. And again, if I share anything about where I am now, it is not to brag. It's just to demonstrate what just about anybody could do with the right decision, the right mindset, and following the right path. And that's why we're doing the challenge, okay? By the way, I just looked this up. This blows my mind. As I was preparing for this challenge, I looked to see what does it cost to go to Carnegie Mellon now. And could you believe that the 1-year tuition is $57,000? And then you add in room and board and books and all that type of stuff. 1 year at Carnegie Mellon, $78,000. And the starting salary for a chemical engineer is 68 grand. Okay, that doesn't seem fair, but we've all bought into that. And so, and it's not secure. I mean, how many people out there have been laid off? How many people are out there or maybe in their 40s or 50s and maybe you don't feel secure and you know somebody that lost a job, whether it was during the pandemic or before the pandemic, okay? So that's why we lost, and 10 million Americans, we lost 20 million jobs, but only 10 million of them have come back. So for 2020, we're down a net 10 million jobs, and that's why I'm doing the challenge, okay? Because if you want to be financially free, apartment investing is the best way to go. And I've studied a lot of different ways, and apartment investing is the way to go. So now I'm going to fast forward to where I am today, okay? So number one, I'm currently invested in 18 properties, almost 4,000 units, and I'm in 8 different markets. I own mainly in Dallas, in Houston, but I also have properties in Oklahoma, Jacksonville, Tampa, and Wichita Falls and El Paso, okay? So I have properties in 8 different markets, and my cash flow from these properties is over $1 million. It's well over $1 million. And so we make a lot of money from our apartments. And that's one of the things I want to impress upon you is why would you invest in apartments? Kiyosaki will teach you this. We want to invest in assets that provide cash flow. I don't do stocks, but one of the reasons I don't do stocks is that I don't get cash flow from stocks. And with all the stuff going on with GameStop and Reddit and Robinhood and all that type of stuff, I want to be in charge of my investments. I want to have control over my investments and not some YouTuber or Wall Street or somebody manipulating the value, okay? So that's one of the things I love about apartments. Now, I've gone full cycle on 16 properties, and going full cycle means that I've bought them, improved them, and sold them. And so I've had over 2,700 units that I've bought and sold. And I've returned tens of millions of dollars to my investors. So not only did I make myself financially free and my wife, we've helped a lot of hundreds of our investors become financially free, and we're uplifting these communities one property at a time. You see, we're going in there and we're renovating these buildings, and most of these buildings some of them are higher professional class clientele, but most of them are working class clientele. So not only are we making money, but we're improving America one community at a time. Okay, and this is the opportunity available for you. And I see a lot of my students here. I see Alan Stewart and Carrie Young and the Kitty sisters, and you guys are all doing this too. Okay, so it's just not me. But this is what's available. This, by the way, this ain't bad. Over 6,000 units for a guy from Ambridge, PA, and that's where I grew up. I grew up in Ambridge, Pennsylvania. And oh, I forgot to mention, if I add up all the income, yeah, Palmy, that's right. If I add up all the income from our businesses, our apartment businesses, our brokerage business, this company, our education and mentoring company, we consistently earn in the mid 7 figures, okay? And for 3 years in a row, I have legally paid no taxes. And I'm going to talk about this. So how many people pay taxes? If you pay taxes and you don't want to pay taxes, put that in the comments. Okay, and that should be everybody. And let me say that you want to pay taxes, you want to pay no taxes legally. Okay, and the way we do that is by owning real estate. So in 2018, I bought one building and I got enough depreciation where it offset all of my income tax. In 2019, I bought another building. You can see the picture. And it gave me enough depreciation that it wiped out all of my earned income, and I didn't have to pay tax on it. So I net income, but then I write it off from the depreciation. And I did the same thing in 2020. So this is what we want for you. This is what I want for you. This is what my team wants for you. And this is why we're doing the challenge. So if you want to have the income that covers your expenses, you're in the right place. If you want to see your net worth skyrocket from your investments that tend to double or triple in value over a short period of time, this is the right place. And if you want to learn how to legally pay no taxes, this is the right place. And so we're going to be talking about all this stuff. I can't cover it all today, but in the next 5 days, I'm going to be touching on everything, okay? And we're going to cover all this information. So this is not the first real estate investment property for me. This is actually the house that I was raised in Ambridge, PA. It was about a 1,400 square foot house, and we had a family of 6. So the bedroom on the top left was the room I shared with my 2 brothers, and then my older sister had her own room, and my mom and dad had their bedroom on the main floor, and we had 1 bathroom. Okay, 1 bathroom for a family of 6. Now, we weren't poor. In fact, we had everything that we needed growing up, okay? I lived in the same house my whole life until I went to college, and we always had everything we needed. But I didn't realize how much more opportunity there was until I left home. By the way, we had a basement. Did anyone grow up, or does anyone have a basement? Like in Florida and in Texas, we don't have basements. Does anyone out there have a basement? If you have a basement, tell me that you got a basement or that you grew up in a basement. So my dad actually remodeled the basement. And so when I was a teenager, we actually had a second bathroom where we could all, because I had to go to school, and then I got a part-time job, and my mom would be in the bathroom, in the main bathroom, getting ready for hours. And so when my dad remodeled the basement, we finally had a little bit more space. But that was by the time I was like 13. Okay, so that was a little bit about my background. Ambridge, Pennsylvania. This is my parents, and my dad is 84. And he's still alive. And my beautiful mom passed away in February, actually, of 2015. So February 9th will be 6 years since my mom passed. And she passed from Alzheimer's. And my dad worked hard his whole life. He worked 2 jobs his whole life so he could provide for our family, and so that we could have some sort of decent life and some sort of decent lifestyle. And the only reason my dad retired is to take care of my mom. Because when my mom's Alzheimer's got worse and worse, she refused to go into a home, and my dad refused to put her into a home. And so he quit his job at 77. But after 2 years of taking care of my mom, he had no choice but to put her into a home, because my dad was only weighing like 150 pounds and he couldn't take care of her anymore. And so that was the story of my dad and my mom. My dad's maximum salary was $42,000 a year, okay? And he finished 3 years of college, and he studied engineering, but he never got his degree. And when we would go on family vacations, we would drive from Pittsburgh to Lake Erie. There's probably at least one person out there from Erie. If you are, I want to hear from you. So what I'm about to say is not meant to be personal. But my mom would say, okay, we're going to Dreary Erie again for our family vacation. And my dad's boss, who was an engineer, was flying his family to Hawaii. So my parents just taught me that if you want to have a good life, you got to study hard, you got to get good grades, and you got to be an engineer, okay? So that's why I became an engineer. By the way, I never even flew on an airplane until the first time I flew on an airplane, I was in the high school band. And our band was going to play at Disney World. And, nowadays, kids just create a GoFundMe account, and their rich relatives will pay for their, high school trip. And what we had to do is we had to knock on doors, sell Easter candy, sell hoagies. Y'all know what I'm talking about if you're 45 or 50 and older. I'm 53, man. So I know what it's like to have to work hard, and I learned that from my beautiful parents, okay? But they couldn't teach me the things that I know now because they hadn't done them. And so, I just want to share with you what my parents taught me, and they taught me a lot. And a lot of it served me and still serves me throughout my life, but at some point, some of it wasn't serving me anymore. So the first thing I remember was I had to be a good boy. And that meant I stay out of trouble, don't drink, don't smoke, don't come home late, listen to your parents, be a good student, listen to authority. And I still have a lot of that in me today, by the way, although maybe a little bit less, just a little bit less. Some of you that know me personally, I sometimes get into trouble. Sometimes I like to have a lot of fun. But generally speaking, I'm still a good boy. You got to ask my wife, actually. She'll be able to tell you. I learned to study hard and get good grades. We didn't have money. And so the only way I was going to go to a good college and get a good engineering degree, because that's what my parents knew I was going to do my whole life, was to get a scholarship. So I studied hard. I got good grades. Does anyone know what they call the person that graduates first in their class? If you know what it is, type it in. What do they call you if you're first in your class? Go ahead, type it in. Yeah, does anyone know what they call you if you're, yeah, valedictorian, everybody knows that. Does anyone know what they call you if you're second in your class? Well, that's what I was. Yeah, someone said loser. Yeah, right. Well, that was the answer I got from my mom. My mom wasn't like, oh, son, I'm so proud of you. You were second. My mom said, if you didn't get that B- in 10th grade biology, you could have been first. I'm serious. Okay, that was my mom. Okay, but the good part of that was she always pushed me to work hard and strive for excellence. And you know, the whole time I was in high school, I was saving money for college, save for college. Oh, and then by the way, when I graduated, now I'm saving for retirement. I'm like, when is life supposed to be fun? You know, I save for college, and now I'm working, and now I'm saving for retirement. You notice I wasn't investing for retirement, I was saving for retirement. Okay, my dad used to say all the time, money doesn't grow on trees. Okay, I used to hear that all the time. So these are what my parents taught me, okay? Then, after almost going to law school to get my 3rd degree, I picked up this book. And this book changed my life. How many people read this book? Let me see a show of hands. Let me hear from you in the chat room if you read the book. So I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then the Cash Flow Quadrant. And we're going to talk to Robert tonight about that, okay? Super excited. And these are all the things I learned from Robert Kiyosaki. Be a business owner and an investor. Invest in assets that cash flow and have depreciation. Oh my God, and this one, like the rich don't work for money. Well, they work for experience, and then they have their money work for them. Okay, debt is your best friend. I was taught, like, if you don't have cash, you shouldn't buy it. And I was taught to get formal degrees, but Robert says, go and invest in yourself to specialized education, to seminars, or to things like we're doing this week in the challenge, okay? And then he talks about getting out of the rat race. And I'm in the rat race, and I'm going back I was ready to go to law school and be in the legal rat race, and then he's telling me to get out of the rat race. And then what blew me away is that most business owners and investors, if they do it right, they don't pay taxes. So those are the things I learned from Robert Kiyosaki's book. And it blew me away, right? I mean, how many people learned the same things? I know you did. That's why we're all here, okay? So I'm so excited that I'm going to be interviewing Robert tonight, okay? And I have a lot of questions for him, and some of you have sent in your questions, and some of you that are going to join me backstage will get to have a little bit more intimacy with Robert. So this is going to be super fun. And now it came full circle, and Robert, many of you have seen him at our national apartment investor conferences, and I'm just tickled that he's going to be, you know, spending some time with us tonight. So super excited about that, okay? So I want to share with you a little bit about my why, okay? And one thing I learned is that all successful people have a strong why, okay? Now, my parents never taught me to be passionate. They never taught me to get obsessed. They didn't talk to me about having a burning desire. My parents taught me to be safe, to be logical, to be reasonable. Well, let me ask you this. How many people that change the world, or how many ultra successful people, think of somebody you know that you want to be like? You know, for me, the names that come up are like Tony Robbins. I love Tony. You know, Grant Cardone, there's certain things I love about Grant. You know, and none of these people are safe or reasonable or logical. You know, my parents didn't say, oh, son, follow your heart and do what makes you happy. They said, get a good job and become an engineer, because engineers have the highest starting salary. Okay? So a total mindset shift for me. Now, I want to share with you my why back in 2001. Okay? So you need to have a strong why, because things won't always be easy. There's going to be, you know, life gets in the way. You know, maybe a pandemic. Who knows? Maybe a shutdown. Maybe a loss of a job, or losing a loved one or a friend or family member, or moving, to a different city, or having a baby or 5 babies, okay? So life gets in the way. And the people that are the most successful, they have that strong why. So this was my why. Now, the reason I'm sharing this with you is that I'm going to ask you all to share your why later tonight in the homework, okay, in the Facebook group. And some of you have, but I'm going to ask you to share this. So my why in 2001 is I was obsessed with leaving the rat race because I hated my job after job after job. For 17 years, I actually hated it. I wasn't like tolerating it. I freaking hated it, okay? And I wanted to live my life on my terms and not my boss's. I had a lot of shitty bosses, if I can say that. I just had a lot of bosses that were not good to me. And they made me work on Christmas and New Year's. And, I was able to have Christmas Day off. And I'm talking about like I have 2 degrees, okay? But I just was living my life on their terms. And so I became obsessed about figuring out a way to have my cash flow pay for my lifestyle so that I never have to work unless I want to. Like right now, I want to do this, so I don't consider it work, okay? But I don't have to because of apartment investing. So I came up with a financial freedom number, and I'm going to ask you guys to do it too. So my financial freedom number was $10,000 a month. And so your financial freedom number is really simple. It's typically, if you have a W-2 job, you want your investment income to be equal to your job income, okay? Now, some of you live way below your means, and so maybe if you earn $10,000 a month and you could get by on $7,000 a month and retire, then maybe that's your financial freedom number. Now, we got to make this real simple. Make this your initial financial freedom number because, not like, $1 million a month, because maybe that's what it'll be in 20 years from now. But like, think of your financial freedom number now that you could not have to work, okay, unless you want to. Okay, that's what I'm going to ask you to do, is to share your why and your financial freedom number. Now, I became obsessed with making my why happen, but I didn't know how. So don't worry about the how yet. You focus on the why. Does that make sense? You get it? And so then I took action. Okay, I had my why, and then Kiyosaki said, invest in specialized education. Invest in specialized education. So I sought out real estate investing education. I sought out seminars. I sought out mentors. And 8 months after I made that decision, the same decision you're all making right now to become financially free by investing in apartment buildings, I made that decision in 2001. And then I figured out how. I went to a seminar, I got a mentor, and I bought this property 8 months later, 32 units. And then I bought this property 8 months after that, 30 units, and then boom, ready, fire, aim, baby. I had enough income from 62 units that I quit my job, okay? So if I can do it, you can do it. Now, fast forward again to today. In January of this year, I purchased a $123 million institutional asset. We got an $80 million loan, raised $43 million in equity, and I partnered up with a company that sought me out, and I sought them out too, and we're co-general partners in the deal. But this is the type of stuff that Grant Cardone's buying. So I just can't believe it, and I'm not bragging. I'm just trying to share with you what's possible as a result of making a simple decision. And it's the same decision. So it doesn't matter where you're at on the journey. You might be an E in that ESBI quadrant. I was an E. Or maybe you're an S. And, S's pay more taxes than E's. But maybe you're trying to, and S's, if you stop working, maybe you have a medical practice or an accounting practice or a legal practice or an orthodontist practice. But if you stop working, the money stops, okay? So that's what we're talking about today, is what is your why and what is your financial freedom number. And I want to bring up one of my students. She's here in the studio, Krista Lee, come on up here. Let's hear it for Krista Lee. And Krista Lee is going to, just for a few minutes, and then we're going to bring up Robert. Krista Lee is going to share with us who these beautiful people are and what your why is.
Awesome. Thank you, Brad, for having me on here. It's so great to see everybody. Thank you for being here. It's super exciting. And as Brad said, my name's Krista Lee Thomas. This picture you see, this is my family. This is my why. And this is my husband, David. And we have twin boys, William and Christian. And then the dog snuck in there. We actually have two dogs. I guess she was the one taking the picture, the one that's not in the picture, but that's Marley. And so, you know, I am just so excited to be here and to share with you this. Life is a gift, really. And every day that we wake up, every day that we're above ground, it's like another day that's an absolute gift from God. And my husband and I, it is our mission and it's our purpose to wake up every day and to just have the clarity of mind to recognize opportunities that are available to us to impact other people in a positive way. And that's why we sought out Brad, because before we made the decision 7 years ago to be multifamily investors, we were doing single family. We were just crawling along at a snail's pace. It was going so slow. We were just roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. We're like, there's got to be a better way. We don't want to waste the gifts that have been given to us in this life. So we did some research. We learned about Brad. Like many of you, we made the decision to learn more and to understand what it is that he's teaching. So we chose Brad as our mentor and as the person, yeah, woohoo, to
that was
learn
like
from.
5 years ago or
yeah,
6 years ago.
It was. It's been almost 7 years, if you can believe that. I know.
I can't believe it.
So before we met Brad, we were just literally like, trying to save as much money as we could, trying to live way below our means, pinching every penny, because we were like, that's how we're going to build wealth. You know, one single family home here, another single family home there. And when we met Brad, it was within 4 months. We had already quadrupled our investment by a number of doors. Fast forward almost 7 years, we've been in over 2,500 doors, passive investors. We've led 2 deals as syndicators. We replaced my income in corporate America, and I was a professional in corporate America making 6 figures a year. We replaced my income. I was able to quit my full-time job, and doing all of this while being a mother, while being a wife, while having a full-time job that requires a lot of attention. I'm an executive leader in a company known as Sunrock. But I'm very.
I recognize talent when I see it.
I'm very honored and very humbled to be here. And something that and I know I've got just another few seconds is that it really occurred to me that I thought a lot of this was unattainable. 10 years ago, I thought that we would never be millionaires. I thought that we would never own as many units as we do, as many doors as we do. I thought we would never be able to impact working class communities like we do. And it was such a shift, and it took somebody teaching us, somebody showing us how to do that, how to shift your mindset, how to follow the recipe, learning from his mistakes, just compressing that training time. We shaved years off our learning and we just blasted off. So I'm excited you guys are here. Thank you for having me. And
so do you remember what your financial freedom number was initially?
Yes, it was $7,000 a month, and we replaced that. And yeah, I see thumbs up. Yes. I guess I have a lot of people
That's
that
Gino.
have that.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you? It's great to see you. And our why, every day we wake up and just every day above ground is a gift, and we don't want to waste it.
Awesome. Let's give Krista Lee a round of applause. Get on the chat. Krista Lee is awesome. Yeah, when she retired as an apartment investor, like when I retired, it's like I love doing this. And when she retired, she joined our team. And now she works like 50 or 60 hours a week with us, helping us fulfill our mission. And she just put another deal together. So she buys deals and she invests in deals and she works with a lot of you guys that are my students, okay? So now for your homework, okay? And this is really important for you to do this, okay? If you're thinking, I don't need to do this, you're the one that needs to do it the most. So what I want you to do is I want you to get creative. Now, you could just type in, this is what you do on the Facebook group. Okay, you do it in the Invest in Apartments Facebook group. And so I want you to share your why. Now, you could just type it in. You could put pictures. You could do a video. And we're going to give away prizes. Okay? And the prizes we're going to give are going to be the best 10 whys in my team's assessment is going to get a copy of Robert Kiyosaki's newest book. Okay? So you're going to get a copy of his book. We're going to get it for you and send it to you. So is your why like mine, to exit the rat race? Or maybe it's to provide for your family and leave a legacy. Or maybe it's simply to just spend more time with the people you love and to live your life to the fullest, okay? And maybe it's to just, you're like freedom driven like I am and you want to live life on your frickin' terms and nobody else's. Or maybe to have things like a dream home or a dream car or a dream trip or all of the above. And if none of that resonates with you, maybe you want to give back and start a charity or contribute more to something you're passionate about, okay? And then I want you to share, what is your initial financial freedom number? Not your number like at 20 years in the future, but how much will it take you right now? How much would it take you right now per month so you don't have to work? Is it $5,000 a month? Is it $7,000 a month? Is it $20,000 a month, okay? What is that number? So this is your homework. And get creative, because me and my team are going to be on the Facebook page and we're going to be picking out the best. So, you know, you could type it, you could do a photo, you could do a video, and let's have fun with this. So is everyone clear on your homework? Say yes. All right, this is important. This is important. So when you do that, I want you to tag. Use these hashtags, my why, hashtag my why, hashtag my financial freedom number, okay? So this is going to make it fun, and I know some of you are competitive out there, and I already see Dante sitting there going, oh, I'm going to win, you know, so like you guys, there's a lot of competitive people out there. Ruth, I know you're competitive, so you guys, I want you all to win, but we're just going to pick the top 10, okay? So in just a minute, I'm going to bring on the legend and the best personal author, the best-selling personal finance author of all time. So I want to explain how this is going to work before we bring him on, is we're going to talk to Robert here on the Facebook group for about 10 or 15 minutes. And then I'm going to say goodbye to everybody on the live stream, and only those people backstage will continue. Okay, so if you want to have some of the juicy stuff and ask Robert some of the juicy questions that maybe he doesn't want to share on the Facebook page, but he's going to share backstage, it's still, you still have time to do that. So someone on the Sunrock team, I don't know if we're putting out a link or whatever to get into that backstage. Krista Lee, Jay, okay, good. They're all working here behind the scenes to make this a great experience for you guys. This is so much fun for me because all I have to do is show up and teach. So let's see if Robert's here, and let's put him up on the screen. So Neander, looking for Robert Kiyosaki. I know he's there. Hey, Robert.
How you doing?
Hey, how are you? I like that background.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you.
So this is just going to be a simple interview, a simple conversation. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you very well.
All right. Well, first of all, I wanted to say hi and Happy New Year. And I haven't seen you since August last year when you spoke at our national conference, and you did a great job.
Well, thank you, thank you.
Hey, I was just sharing, and we're live right now with people watching on a Facebook live stream. And I was sharing with them how reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad changed my life. And I shared with them about the cash flow quadrant. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that and why it's so important.
I'd be happy to. I'm probably going to talk, about education, as Jen said, mindset. What is your mindset,
That's great.
Anyway, happy to talk about that.
All right, well, go ahead.
Any on later on?
I mean, you could talk about education now, because we talked about the difference between formal education and specialized education. And I was sharing with them how I have 2 degrees, but that 2 degrees made me like $90,000 a year. And then I went to specialized education and became a millionaire. So maybe, yeah, let's talk about education and whatever it is you want to talk about. You're our guest, and we're here. We're here with you.
Okay. You have people from where's your audience from?
Well, all over. There's people tuning in on Facebook, and they're all over the place, but mostly the United States.
Okay, good. It's important. So should we start? Or?
Yeah, we're ready to go. We're live.
Okay, well, hi, this is Robert Kiyosaki. I'm very, very happy to be working with Brad and Jen Sumbrock. Great friends, great people, and great teachers. And by the way, Brad, how much time do I have before I don't
we have 30 minutes.
Okay, good. Okay, and then I understand you have a great lineup, like Ken, I think you have Ken McElroy.
Kenny McElroy is going to be here later in the week. So is Tom. He's
my partner in about 8,000 apartment units. And then you have Tom Wheelwright, who will explain debt and taxes.
Yes.
And the primary reason I'm in real estate is because I like real estate. And that's a very big difference. I'm not in the stock market. And I know that's silly because the stock market since '87, people have made fortunes in it. I just don't like it. I'm not saying you shouldn't invest in the stock market, but I'll explain why I don't, and then you can make up your own mind. Because years and years ago, 25 years ago, I was offered Apple shares at $18 a share. And I don't know what that'd be worth today, but I'd be extremely wealthy with Apple shares. I just don't like stocks. There's nothing right or wrong with them, but I'll explain why I don't like them. So before I begin, I'll go into what you asked me for here is this. This is the cash flow quadrant. Maybe you can see that.
Yes.
It's book number 2 in the Rich Dad series. So E stands for employee. S stands for self-employed, specialist, small business owner. B stands for big business, 500 employees or more, or a brand. Very important, the word brand. And I stands for investor, but it's a different type of investor. It's an investor who invests from the inside of a deal. So this is insider trading. So my professional training is I can sail oil tankers, which I did for Standard Oil, and I can fly planes. So when I came back from Vietnam, my poor dad, who's on this side here, he's an employee, PhD, and then mom was a nurse, and she wanted me a doctor. And, they said, why don't you fly for the airlines? And I said, I'd rather die. No, you're driving a bus in the air. Do you know what I mean? It's just not that exciting. And I would be making today maybe $400,000 a year if I had a job. But the trouble with making money here is you pay the highest taxes. And I think Tom Wheeler will go in taxes. And if I was here a pilot for United Airlines, let's say. And the other thing about my friends who went to fly for United Airlines, they lost their pensions in 2004. So it's a very serious problem we face in America today is that America is bankrupt. Now for these guys here, life is very scary. So the difference here is this, my poor dad said, go to school, get a job. And my mom said, become a doctor. So one problem with being a doctor is I'm not smart. I was a C student all the way through school. So this was my mom and dad's side. This is my rich dad's side, B and I. And the most important thing about a B is as an entrepreneur, can you build a brand? So when you listen to Warren Buffett speak, he only invests in brands, for instance, Gillette and Coca-Cola. Okay, so a brand by itself is priceless. So Apple is a brand, Tesla is a brand. So as a young man, I was about 27 at the time, I'll be 74 this year, an old man. But I wanted to come over here. And so I'm talking about education, because they don't teach this side in school. And the reason I support you and Jen is because this is the side you guys teach. And if you go to school, you'll never learn this. In fact, you'll just learn to be an employee or a doctor or a dentist or a lawyer, heaven forbid. So the differences here are mindsets or self-talk. An employee always says the same words. I want job security with a steady paycheck. Stay here. It's best you stay here. If you cannot change that little voice in your head, I want job security and a steady paycheck and a pension, stay here. And this person here, the S, like a doctor or an accountant or an attorney, they said, you want it done right, do it by yourself. So they're self-employed. These guys pay about 40% of their income in taxes. These guys pay 60%. Okay. On this side, so when I was 27 years old, I didn't want to become a pilot for life flying for United. So I decided to become an entrepreneur on this side. So today I have the Rich Dad brand. The Rich Dad brand, I don't know how much is worth, probably $50 million or so. Who can value it? I'm still the #1 personal finance book in the world just because of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's not bad for a guy who flunked out of school because I can't write. And the I is an inside investor. So for all you people listening right now, the question is, where do you want to be? If you want to be a good employee, go back to school, get your master's degree, your PhD. You want to be a doctor or a lawyer, you have to go here. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, on this side here, is everything okay? Brad?
Everything's good.
Okay, because that guy's walking around distracting me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So.
Sorry about that.
I am a Marine. Marines just do not like things that are disorderly.
I remember that all too well. Stay off the stage.
For all your people, all your students out there, do you want to stay on this side? Stay on this side, the poor dad side, or the rich dad side? And this requires massive learning. I'm learning every single day because every day is different. There's no steady paycheck. I have lots of employees. I have lots of problems. I earn my money, but I'm also building a brand, and I'm always on the inside of deals. So I know what you do is you specialize in apartment houses. So let me explain something about real estate here. So when I came back from Vietnam in 1972, 73, the first thing my poor dad wanted me to do was go back to school, get my PhD. And my rich dad said, if you're going to be rich, you have to come on this side. And I had to learn real estate. And it says, you have to learn to invest in real estate for nothing down. And I went, what? Because I didn't have any money. I was a Marine pilot making about $500 a month. And I said, how do you get something for nothing down? He says, that's what you go to school for. So I was stationed at Kaneohe Marine Corps Air Station in Hawaii, my last duty station before I rotated and became a civilian again. And I was watching television one night, and this infomercial comes on and says, you too can be a real estate investor for nothing down. So well, that's what I'm looking for. And so I signed up for the course. It cost me $385. It was 3 days long, and that course made me a multimillionaire over and over and over and over and over again. And the best thing about it is I make millions and millions and millions of dollars, and I pay no taxes. That's the advantage of real estate. On top of that, I don't need money because the beauty of real estate is you use debt, you use other people's money. Now, what does that mean? That means you have to be 10 times smarter on this side than these yo-yos on this side here. Like when the market crashed in 2008, Kenny and I borrowed $300 million. The average person can't borrow $30 million, much less $300 million. Think about that. And interest rates kept coming down after 2008. So I thought I died. Kenny and I thought we died and went to heaven. And today interest rates are hitting at all-time lows because they keep printing money because America is bankrupt. So it's really, really bad for the stock and bond guys over here, but it's really, really good for real estate investors. But you have to pay the price. The reason I support you and what you guys do is because you teach. You have to be 10 times smarter on this side than these yo-yos on this side here. Most of these guys are what's called paper assets, mutual funds and ETFs, stocks, bonds. And there's only 3 things you can do with a paper asset. You can buy it, you can hold it, or you can sell it. That's it. End of story. Takes no intelligence. The beauty of this side here with paper, it's liquid. If you make a mistake, let's say you buy the wrong stock, you can be out tonight. You make a bad mistake on real estate, you ride the Titanic down. And I've rode the Titanic down many times. So all of you listening right now, so whatever Brad and Jen say, if they're offering you courses and subjects, or listen to Ken McElroy, who's my investment partner in apartment houses, or Tom Wheelwright on taxes, that's why you're on this side here. Donald Trump and I wrote 2 books together. We make million. He's a billionaire. I'm only about a 250 millionaire or whatever. I don't know how much I am, but he has a brand called Trump. Can you build a brand? Anybody can buy a mutual fund. Any stupid idiot can buy a mutual fund. But not everybody can build a brand. That takes brains. Okay? And anybody can buy a stock or bond mutual fund, but very few people invest from the inside. So to get and inside also stands, you're invited to the inside. Like in this last 2 weeks, because I have education plus experience plus money, I'm always invited to inside deals. Sometimes they're called pre-IPOs, before they go public deals. And that's where the money is made. By the time it becomes a stock, the money's already been made by the insiders here. That's the real game. But those stupid sons of a bitches in the MBA program will never tell you that because they don't know how to get there. So insider is you have to be invited. So one of the reasons I like apartment houses is because you're automatically an insider, but you gotta be smart. You have to be very, very smart because you make a bad mistake, like a lot of guys did in 2007, 2008, they ride the Titanic down. So those are some of the differences there. Another thing too is with paper assets over here, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETF. As I said, there's only 3 things you can do: buy, hold, and pray. That's it. It takes no intelligence. You make a mistake, sell. Right now you have what, Coinbase, no, not Coinbase.
GameStop.
Big deal. I mean, they're just shorting the stock and all that. They're just playing games with it. I wouldn't touch the thing. You can make a lot of money, but I won't touch it. It's not worth it. Now they're making a run on silver. The reason I'm happy about silver is I started investing in silver in 1964 when I was 16 years old. I have thousands of pounds of silver. So when these Reddit guys and Robinhood guys run the price of silver up, I get richer. But I've been buying it since 1964. I never sell.
Well, Robert,
I have thousands of ounces of gold, but I bought it back in 1973 at $50 an ounce. And it's because I'm always on the inside of things. I'm studying, I'm constantly, I'm talking to guys like you and Jen and Kenny and Tom. I have friends on the inside. Most people's friends are over here. They're chasing Reddit and Robinhood. Nothing wrong with that. But that's gambling. That's the big difference there. So the other thing I want to show you here is this. This is book 1 from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This is a financial statement. This is what Tom Wheelwright's going to talk about. You have income, expense, asset, liability. 99% of the people on planet Earth only know this one here. They only know how much money they're going to make and how can they reduce expenses. Not very intelligent. Not financially intelligent. These are the E's and S's, employees and small business, the doctors and lawyers. They belong here. They don't have the financial education that you're offering. And it takes a while, because it takes a while. You don't just go out there and buy an apartment building. And then this here is asset and liability. This is where my rich dad taught me to operate. So all I focus on are assets in here. So a big asset is my business. It's also a brand. I have tons of real estate. I took 2 companies public through an IPO, took a gold company public through the Toronto Stock Exchange, and a silver company out of Argentina through the Toronto Stock Exchange. So I understand the markets intimately, but I paid a huge price for that because I had to study. And then I have lots of gold, silver, and Bitcoin. That's what makes me rich, not my college degree. And I know, oh, that's so easy. I can do that. Knock yourself out. Go ahead. You know, I mean, most people should be here. Buy stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. Buy, hold, and pray. So I'm going to tell you one more thing that makes a difference with real estate is that when I came back from Vietnam in 1973, my rich dad had me, he said, you better take classes. So the first course I signed up for was how to buy for nothing down. And the instructor was a real estate investor. At the same time, in 1973, I was in the MBA program at the University of Hawaii. I dropped out of that because the teacher was full of shit. Didn't know what he was talking about. He had a master's in accountancy, but he'd never been an accountant. And so I went and took the real estate course. The guy was a real estate investor. I love the guy. And so he says, well, 3 days long, $385. He says, okay, gentlemen and ladies, your education begins the day you walk out of this classroom, not in the classroom. So your education is learned on the street. That's why there's school smarts and street smarts. He says, for the next 90 days, your job is to look at 100 properties in 90 days. He didn't care what they were. Just look at 100 properties and write a one-page report, the pros, cons, good, why it was bad. It was those 90 days and 100 properties that I wrote a one-page report on that made me a rich man. Not my Bachelor of Science degree, not my MBA, which I never got. It was actually do it. So one of the biggest things I learned from people is, oh, I think I'll just go and buy a piece of real estate. What a loser. That's a loser's attitude, because real estate is not liquid. You make a mistake, it's going to eat you alive. They call them alligators. And I bought a number of them. But that's how you learn also. So the biggest thing I've learned about real estate is a thing called the twist. So everybody goes and looks at a property. You have to be an entrepreneur to look at it. And what's the twist? And the twist is, what is it that even the seller does not see? What advantage does this property have that nobody else sees? So my wife, Kim, back, I forget now, 86 or something, she bought her first property. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath rental property in Portland, Oregon. It was $45,000, nothing down. The twist was, it was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. When she did the numbers on it, because of the roof structure and all that, she could add a third bedroom and a second bath. That quantumly jumped the value of the property and the rental income. So let's say she puts in $10,000 to add the third bedroom and the second bath, but her rent goes up. That's a twist. Now, what happened was she was working on numbers and all this. She bought the property, and this guy came around and offered her, I think, $110,000 for a property. She had nothing in it. It was $45,000. So she's going to make about $50,000 after commissions for nothing. And then what she did was she 1031 tax deferred exchanged it into a bigger property. So she was on her way. Now you can do the same thing with a stock. The difference was the 1031 tax deferred exchange, which everybody can do. She paid no tax. See, communism is about taxation. You know, as Marx says, you want to destroy capitalism, raise the taxes, which is what Biden is doing, that communist. So anyway, people like taxes. I hate taxes. I'm a capitalist. So another twist that Kenny saw, I mean, he and I bought this one property in San Antonio. It was 40% empty. It was a great deal. So Kenny brings in his construction team and all that. And Kenny has more twists up his sleeves than anybody else. He can fix that thing. But one of the ones I thought that was absolutely brilliant was we were looking at this property in Phoenix, and I didn't see anything except the vacancy was low. I mean, high. There was nobody living in it. Not nobody, but it was like 20% unrented. So I asked Kenny, I said, what's wrong with that? And he says, because we're here in the daylight. And he says, the problem is lighting. There was no lighting, so the place didn't feel safe at night. So the twist was the other investors are coming in there and they couldn't see the lighting because the lights weren't on. But when Kenny did his talking to the tenants, says, what don't you like about this place? He says, well, if they lit the parking lot and they put more lights around, we'd feel safer. That was his twist. Jacked up. He just got the rents up, increased his valuations. He refied it, pulled all my money out, got all my money back tax-free because it came out as debt. Tom will talk about that, and Kenny. And we have a property not free, it's got debt on it, but I have no money in it. It's an infinite return. That's a twist. I cannot do that with stocks. I can basically buy, hold, and pray. That's it. So that's one of the biggest advantages, but the difference is liquidity. With real estate, you make a mistake, you're stuck. A lot of people are going to go bankrupt right now because they have these huge office buildings and shopping centers and things like that. They're empty. So there's going to be a crash like we've never seen before. Now, the reason I'm making a fortune is because the Federal Reserve, under Janet Yellen, who was the ex-Fed president, chairman, and Powell, they're going to get together and start injecting money straight into the economy. That's really good for residential property. It's bad for commercial. So so right now, Kenny and I are looking at commercial property. We just can't figure out because there's going to be such a crash, Brad. I mean, office buildings, shopping centers are going to go down.
Yeah.
And I'm always looking, I never stop looking for properties. I'm looking for the twist.
Yeah.
So I found this commercial residential storefront property, beautiful property, prime Scottsdale, Arizona property. It's been on the market for 3 years at $700,000, brand new. I walk into it and I go, God, what's wrong? I live there. So the bottom floor is the office. Like if you are an accountant or something, or a real estate agent, it'd be perfect. And upstairs is got an elevator in it, huge master bedroom, beautiful views of Arizona, commercial neighborhood, restaurant, high-end restaurant next door. It's prime. And so I kept looking at it and I said, what's wrong with it? It's the same thing that was wrong with the apartment house that Kenny looked at with no lights. This beautiful, beautiful office condo, there was a development, about 20 of them. Most are empty. And the reason they're empty is because of security. Do you know what I mean? If I bought this 3-bedroom office condo for $700,000, nobody would rent it because it's not safe. I couldn't rent it out. I wouldn't want to live there because there's so much commercial traffic going right in front of your door. So as as civil unrest occurs and violence occurs and all this, safety, security are going to be bigger factors in the valuation of a property. So I went to the seller of the property to see if I could steal it. And the guy says, no, it's $700,000 because he or she owes $700,000 in it. And I said, well, I guess I can't help them. Now, if they owed $400,000, I might offer them $4 and finance it because interest rates are so low. But at 7, it doesn't make sense because the risk is too high because of security. Although I would love living there. It is beautiful. Just gorgeous. Two-car garage, everything and all this. Commercial district, beautiful Japanese restaurant right in front of it. You know, the high-end shishi crowd.
Yeah.
There was no twist to it. I couldn't fix it. And so I still think about it, but I haven't figured out how I'm going to fix it. So I'll just wait for it to go in foreclosure. I still might not buy it then because of security. So I trust that supports, you know, I am basically an educator. You know, I don't know much about real estate. That's why Kenny is my property. I know nothing about taxes. That's why Tom is my tax advisor. And the problem with these idiots over here is they think they have to be the smartest person around. On this side, you have to be smart. On this side, you have to have a very smart team. You have to be a team player here. And so I was talking to, you know, I have a coach. You know, why do you have a coach? Is because a coach will push you through the pain. So we have Rich Dad coaching and all this stuff. But I was talking to my trainer at the gym, and we were talking about Tampa Bay because you guys are going to move there. And he was talking about Tampa, and he said something really profound because he was the trainer for the Arizona Cardinals and the Oakland Raiders, the rehab trainer. And he said something very profound. I said, well, how did Tampa Bay get into the Super Bowl? And he said, well, Brady lost the game, but his team won. And if I could leave you with that thought there, if you have a great team, you'll always win, even if you're not good. The trouble with these clowns on this side here, who went to school, got good grades, are very smart, they're doctors or accountants or attorneys, they pay high taxes and they think they have to know all the answers. On this side here, your most important asset is not the property, but your team. And so I'm very glad you're bringing in Tom and Kenny and the rest of some of my team members, because they're the ones that make me rich. So remember what my strength coach said to me. Tom Brady, probably the greatest quarterback in history, lost the game, but his team won. And I win because I have a great team. But these guys here, they have to do it on their own. That's the difference. And that's why school teachers are broke. They think they have to know all the answers. That was my poor dad. Anyway, thank you there, Brad.
Hey, Robert, thank you so much. And everybody out there listening, if you could put in the chat, thank Robert. I know I learned a lot. Robert, one thing that impresses me about you is I see you, there's so many things that I learned from you. And one of them is I've seen you at some other seminars, and you're in the front row taking notes all the time, and you're always learning, and you're always a student. And that really just impresses me a lot about you, about how you're always learning. So I learn a lot from you, Robert. You know, your books changed my life, and your books change the lives of so many people out there. So I want to thank you for coming on. And could I ask you one more question? What's your next book?
Go ahead. What's that?
What's your next book? That's one question I want to ask you.
Well, I've been working on it for a year. It's the hardest book I've ever had to write. It's called The Capitalist Manifesto. And the reason I write it is because, as most of you know, America is now a Marxist country. You know, we have Comrade Joe Biden and Comrade Kamala Harris. It's your choice. I mean, you can be a Republican, a Democrat, and all that, but I'm a Marine. You know, I fought in Vietnam twice. I fought for capitalism, not communism. And so my book is called The Capitalist Manifesto. And it's why America is now a communist nation. And what we have to do to not get crushed. Like I said, Biden right now is raising, he's going to, he signed more executive orders in 2 weeks than most presidents do, all the 3 presidents combined. Executive orders are basically totalitarian states. That's like Chairman Mao or Xi Jinping. We're no longer a 3-branch government. We don't have an executive, judicial, and legislative. It's now executive. So when Biden is signing these executive orders and Kamala's asking for reparations for the blacks and Black Lives Matter and Antifa, and plus I get accused of being a racist by the communist Washington Post. I said, have you seen me? I'm not a racist. I'm Japanese. All the white guys. And then like that comment here.
Well, thank you so much, Robert. Jen, come on up here and say goodbye. Say hi to Robert before he has to go. Jen's going to come up, Robert, and say hi to you again before we finish up. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Where's Jen?
Yeah, Jen, come on up. She's coming.
Okay.
Just say hi to her.
Staying?
Well, we're going to do Q&A. Robert's going to go, and then we're going to do Q&A on the backstage. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Robert. It's a pleasure seeing you. You look amazing, and thank you so much for all your contribution and your work. We love you so much and appreciate you being here.
Well, the reason I support you guys are great. You're real teachers. You practice what you teach. A lot of fake teachers out there. So congratulations. Sure. That's why I will support you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robert.
Thank you, Robert.
It's great to see you.
Let's give it up for Robert, you guys.
Everybody, let's hear it for
Awesome.
Robert.
Thank you.
Everybody stay on, and we're going to stay backstage. And Robert, thank you. We can sign off, and we'll see you soon.
Take care.
All right, folks. Well, so here's what's going to go down, okay? The way that was supposed to work was we were going to bring Robert backstage, but it was hard for me to interrupt him and all that type of stuff. So what we're going to do is we're still going to do backstage, and it's going to be with me, with Jen, with Krista Lee, okay? But I want to remind you of your homework. So you post your why, you post a video, you post some pictures, you post your financial freedom number. And for bonus homework, how many people want to have extra credit? Does anyone want extra credit? Tell me what you learned from Robert Kiyosaki, okay? He's very educational. Everyone doesn't agree with his views. I don't agree with all of his views either, but every time I listen to him talk, I learn something. And the guy is one of the best educators of my lifetime. So if you want extra credit and you want to win one of his books, then you could put in the Facebook group not only your why, not only your financial freedom number, but what you learned from Robert Kiyosaki. So now what we're going to do is everybody on the live stream, I'm going to say goodbye, and we're going to see you tomorrow at the same time, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central.
Can they still buy a backstage pass if they want to get in so that way they have the recordings and they can?
Yeah, and if you want to come backstage with us, we're going to hang out now. Now, the other speakers are a little bit more easier to work with and everything. So Mike Becker is going to be backstage. Kenny McElroy is going to be backstage. Tom Wheelwright's whoever's backstage with Tom, he's going to save us a bunch of money. Backstage, Grant Cardone is going to be backstage. So I'll see you all tomorrow. They're going to be dropping off. And those that are on the Zoom, we're going to hang out for a little bit. And we're going to answer your questions. So bye, everybody on the live stream. We'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same time, same channel. And those of you backstage, we'll be here with you in 30 seconds.
Post your homework. We want
Still
hear
time
what
to
you're doing.
upgrade for your VIP backstage pass. You can scan the QR code.
I love that you have all of the family involved. Eduardo. Said Eduardo.
Hey, Eduardo and your family.